Welcome to the Dad Show Podcast, a show all about impacting, empowering, inspiring, and uplifting information to become a better dad, husband, man, and mentor. And now, your host, Ryan Ladd.
Welcome to the Dad Show Podcast. How y'all doing? Today is part 9.
I completely understand that, man. And that was, I said I was going to only ask one more question, but like something that Allie and I struggle with terribly is when we do have a date night, when we do have the time alone, we don't talk about our relationship. We talk about the foundation, how we, basically quote unquote, the business, how we can grow it, how we can finally get to that cure that we're shooting every day for. It's so hard. And I don't know if y'all are able to do it, but man, I find it so hard to turn it off. You know what I mean? It's
incredibly hard. You have to almost schedule that. You have to almost force yourself to do it. When we get I will say this, one of the things in the past, we've gone on at least 2, if not more, week-long vacations. And for us, we truly do turn it off then. Yeah. In fact, we notify customers and clients ahead of time. Obviously, work knows. And there's been times recently where we've not even brought a computer.
Wow.
And
that's so hard with
so
what we do. I mean, you all do digital for the most part.
Well, and it's so hard too. And it's so hard for any business owner. But in our business, some of what we do is other people's well-being.
Yeah.
And so, like, for instance, if we have a client who's 100% online retail, and that's their primary source of income, and we go away or we're doing something and their website goes down for some unknown reason, their literal well-being is now stopped in its tracks.
Yeah.
And we've had instances like that, especially back when I was in the military, and that really was a difficult situation. But the time away, we really try to make it time away. And so when we do schedule those times, it's like we're not thinking about it. But when it comes back to, like you said, with you, when we're just sitting there alone, it's gotten, I think, better. There was definitely a time where we really had a hard time turning it off. K2 days, obviously, never got turned off. So again, that was a learning experience. But I think ultimately, again, at the end of the day, you have to force yourself to just be present. And when you go back, when you said like the checks and stuff, what kind of oil changes and things like that do you do? I have recently began to ask Kaylee just the simple, are you happy?
Yeah.
Are you content? And if not, what can I do? And so me being naturally a selfish person, I've had to really teach myself and force myself to think about her and what she needs, because I'm providing, I'm grinding, I'm dadding, I'm husbanding, what else do you want from me?
Yeah, exactly.
But oftentimes it's a lot more.
Yeah.
Right. And just because I think I'm doing a really good job at those things doesn't necessarily mean that. Yeah.
You're blind to what she needs.
And again, being a selfish person by nature, it's been kind of an eye opener. Now, she always says that she's happy and that she's content and all the things, but
no, what do you really mean? No, just
right. But she would and has at times said what she needs that I'm not giving her. And maybe that's just something as simple as like being so laser focused most days and driven. Like we've had this conversation lately of like gentleness. Like sometimes she just wants me to just be more gentle with her, whether it's with my words or, the way in which I approach her about business stuff, because that's another thing. When you do business with your wife, when it comes crunch time, sometimes you fall back on, especially like with you being a firefighter and me being ex-military and what have you, it's like, we don't have time for feelings. It's just, this has to get done. And so then your tone changes and the chemistry gets off and it becomes hard to just turn off business and personal and what have you. And so I've just been trying to be a lot more cognizant lately of like being milder and gentler and like, what do you need from me? And am I meeting your needs? Right.
I had to check myself the other day because that same, I don't remember exactly what it was, but like Allie started getting emotional on me, and I was like, this is not the time,
we don't have time for
to
emotions.
get, exactly.
Yeah.
We don't have time to sit here and cry. It is go time. Let's go. And I had to go back and apologize for that later. But, literally, like you said, our mentality is we'll cry later.
Yeah.
Let's get it done.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
100%.
And
I found myself in that exact situation. Kaylee doesn't cry. It takes a lot to get her upset.
That's the same way with Allie. Yeah.
In those moments sometimes where I'll see her start to tear up, I'm just like, hey, what a dirtbag.
Yeah. Which makes it worse because.
Makes it worse.
Yeah. It takes so much.
What a dirtbag, meaning I'm inward reflecting, not her.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just like, what have I done to get here? And so again, all of that kind of is spoiled up into an oil check or an oil change, like you said. Just stop long enough to say, are your needs met?
Yeah.
And I know maybe that goes against what some people think, or maybe that's us as men being a little more submissive, but it's not that. In fact, I think it's the complete opposite.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
When we do best, and Kaylee lets me lead, like she puts blindfolds on,
Yeah.
Which is amazing. And I know a lot of people at times go through periods of their relationship where they struggle with that power dynamic. But when she's in her feminine and allows me to be, in my masculine leading kind of personality, like we thrive. And at times around business and things like that, we'll find that balance begins to get off. Right.
Yeah.
And this is not like you're submitting to me type thing.
Exactly.
It's just, I have so much in her that I need.
Yeah.
As a man, right?
Yeah.
From the empowerment that she gives me and the drive that she gives me to want to go and do more and be more and all those things. When that power dynamic is off, it definitely throws off everything.
Oh yeah.
So again, going back to the oil changes and things, as I kind of just think through all this, I maybe didn't even realize until you asked me this, that all of the things that we do, and we, again, goes back to communication. We just sat down and we're like, hey, this is off. And,
yeah, exactly.
But again, for her to be in her feminine, I have to understand where I'm lacking.
Yeah.
And so that
100% goes back to communication.
Yeah. If she's not telling me, us as men, we're like, I'm crushing.
Everything's good.
I'm crushing this.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no, you're not. No, you're not. And again, being selfish and even arrogant at times.
Yeah.
Okay. I am crushing this. You should, but it's not the case.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
There's always so much more that you can do and so much more that she needs. But if you're not communicating about it, you're headed towards disaster personally. Yeah. And I think for a lot of people, and I've had some of these conversations with my guy friends, it's like, hey, I don't talk enough, man.
Yeah.
And then when you do, it's like, are you really talking?
Yeah.
And or are you really listening? That's a big one for me. We'll have a conversation sometimes. We'll have to have it 10 times because the first 9 I was not actually listening.
ADD kicking in.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I'm doing it to check a box, but it's like I know I should be doing this. I should be having these conversations. But then I'm not actioning anything that I'm actually taking away from it. And so again, it goes back. Recently, I've really tried to just be more present and adamant about trying to understand what she needs. Yeah. And I don't even want to say understand because sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
And I don't have to. It's not my place to necessarily understand why she needs what she needs. But if she's willing to tell me, then I have a responsibility to do it. To do it.
Yeah.
And marriage is hard, but I love it because it, as hard as it is, and we just had this conversation over the weekend, I don't know where I would be had I not ended up with Kaylee.
Yeah.
And she's extremely mild-mannered, and like I said, if anybody's listening that knows her, she's a special breed, but she just helps me like ground myself. Yeah. And she's so supportive. Like I said, she lets me she puts on blindfolds and it's like, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever you think,
Yeah. And that's huge too. Like I know this is a dad show. This is, men, I hope are listening to this and getting something out of it. But if there's any women out there, like you know, I know the whole movement of,
Yeah.
you know, women empowerment and all that. And I get it 100%, but just like Matt said, being supportive of your husband and not degrading and, you know, anything of that nature means the world to us men. Whenever you are supportive and lifting us up and, you know, showing that confidence in us. Now, you know, that comes with territory as well. Like if you don't show it and you're not that man and you're...
Yeah, don't give it if it's not deserved.
Exactly, yeah,
but
100%.
I want to be called out when I'm not deserving.
Yeah,
of it.
exactly.
And recently we've gotten to that place, I feel like, where she's not afraid necessarily to check me too and be like, you know, I'm not going to give you that.
Yeah.
You're not, right now, you're not deserving of that.
Exactly.
I mean, she's not going to necessarily come out and say it like that. But yeah, 100%. And like, it's not to, again, sound demasculated or whatever, I guess the term, but you know, like as you grow up, if you were lucky and blessed enough to grow up with a very strong mother figure in your life as a male, then you know that it is extremely rewarding. And same thing with your father figure, right? But just like when your mom's proud of you, or you know, I feel like as men, again, having grown up with an unbelievable mother, that my mom empowered me so much growing up, and so. To your point, you know, when your wife is exhibiting those characteristics, it is so empowering. And
exactly
for us, it really, at least for me, and I think this is the case for a lot of guys, it really does make you want to be better. It makes you want to change. It makes you want to work harder. It makes you want to do everything, parent better, like whatever it may be. And as hard as marriage is, like when it is good, there's nothing better.
I agree.
And again, we're not perfect, and we go through times where this is you know, tough and not. But we are so much better today than we've ever been, and I guess to really summarize all of it is like you got to put in the work.
Yeah.
And when you get to a place where you're no longer willing to put in the work, I think it's a very, very dangerous place to be.
Yeah.
And I think that all starts with just open and honest and accepting communication.
Yes.
You know,
when you're going into marriage in these days and you're 52% likely to get divorced, yes, you have to work on it. You have to maintenance it. You have to check up on it, or it's going to go. Like you're going to end up in divorce. And, you know, lasting, like what me and Tyler was talking about on the last podcast, man, that, I mean, that's a lasting impression whenever your parents get divorced, whether it happens at an early age or a late age. It still affects you. It affects the children for the rest of their life.
So I'm glad you bring that up, because.
Now, thank you for coming to watch part 9 and come back tomorrow for part 10. Thank you for listening to the Dad Show podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Dad Show podcast. Please like, review, and subscribe.